Yo, what's good, everyone? Alex Trataros here with another Knicks episode of the Knicks Jets Etc. podcast. And with me, as always, my buddy, my coach, my pal, the man with the plan, the one and only, John Meleka. And I see that it's getting implemented. This intro is getting implemented on WPW, Winning Picks Weekly. I love it. I love that it's just sticking with the channel. But before we ask John how he is doing, everyone out there, you know what to do. If you listen to this podcast and you haven't subscribed already, what are you doing? Make sure to subscribe. We're on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, Alexa, Stitcher, you name it. We are there. If you listen to us on Apple or Spotify, please make sure to give us that 5-star rating. And if you listen to us on Apple, please make sure to leave a comment. We will read it and we'll greatly appreciate it. We're also on YouTube. Knicks, Jets, etc. Period. No one writes out, etc. That's just wild. Find the page, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you know when a new episode drops. And when you watch a video, hit the like button, leave a comment, add to the conversation. We want to know how you feel. Come on, everyone. Let us know how you feel about the Knicks lottery. We're at 11. Some of us knew we were going to stay at 11. Some of us thought it was going to be the worst thing. We're going to drop to 12. Some of us thought, we're going to be prosperous. Sent out that tweet today and think we're going to be in the top 4. Okay. Could be 5 through 10. We were not eligible to do that, but maybe, just maybe, could have been in the top 4, but no. Only Patrick Ewing could be the only guy that we drafted number 1 overall since 1985. But guys, while you're over there, while you're over checking out the podcast, we got another podcast, Winning Picks Weekly. I just alluded to it. John, video producer Greg, co-host Chip Murphy, our guy Chip Murphy. These guys go through everything. They just recently dissected the PGA Championship, NHL playoffs. They got NBA conference finals. You guys need to place money down. Come on. They got you covered. MLB. Look, these guys just do a great job. But when you go over there and listen, make sure to bet responsibly. All right. These guys will win you some money. And then last and certainly not least, please make sure to follow us on all social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, you name it. We are there. But with all that said, the man, the myth, the legend himself with me today, John Meleka, Dr. Meleka, counselor, my man. How should the people be feeling today? How should they all be feeling today? All right, because lottery happened for those of you that don't know. If you don't know, now you do know. And guess what? It was only a half an hour show before the tip off of Celtics Heat. All right, we had Mark Tatum out here. This man never smiles when he's reading the cards, but he always smiles when it comes to the Knicks and to our doom and gloom of either staying put or dropping. That man has like a mechanical smile. He's like, and the New York Knicks. And it's like everyone else. He could be like the New Orleans Pelicans. All right, Memphis Grizzlies, New York Knicks. And it's just like, why are you smiling, bro? Why do you have to be happy for our pain? But I don't really find it to be pain. I feel like we saw this come in the 11th pick, but John, let me know how you feel, man. Were you hopeful? Do you think the Knicks were going to jump into the top 4? Do you think they were going to drop? Do you even care? How do you feel, man? Let us know.
Oh, of course. I mean, of course we care, dude. We care about everything Knicks. So the lottery matters.
Let me tell you something. There's people who are like in my mentions who are like, I don't care, man. I'm like, why are you even commenting that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you care because you're thinking about the NBA in May, and the Knicks haven't played a basketball game in months. So, I mean, how am I feeling? I'm feeling great, dude, because the Rangers won Game 7, and we're about to start a brand new series, and my NHL picks are looking good, and the NHL playoffs looking great. The Eastern Conference Finals are hurting my feelings a lot, and I'm looking forward to Luka. You know, the once-a-decade, shout out to my boy Mikey, the once-a-decade Mavs versus Heat rivalry. I'm all about it. I'm excited for that. When it comes to the Knicks, dude, of course the lottery matters, man, because those same people that tell me, oh, who cares, are the same people that are yelling at me, ever since the All-Star break. Oh, play the kids, tank, lottery odds, percentages. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are the same people. So, of course, today matters. I was a little bit, if you don't know, the Knicks could have had a 1 through 4. They had like about a 2% chance of that. And then we had a 77% chance at 11 and about a 12% chance at 12. That's it. Those are our only choices today in the lottery out of 14. So there was a little bit of anxiety at 12. once they didn't say New York Knicks at 12, I let out an exhale and I'm good to go. Like I was super content with that. No matter what happens after that, I'm good to go. We don't drop. I mean, you talk about how I'm feeling or what do I really think about this draft. I really hate Adam Schefter right now. Like Shefty and his clickbait Nick stuff is
Annual.
really annoying. It's really annoying.
Annual Knicks bait tweet.
Who has NBA Knicks draft lottery stats? It's a lottery. It's Alex. It's a lottery, a literal lottery. How are the Knicks possibly getting slander about a lottery? Like
That they have no control over.
It's too much. And like I'm getting these texts in the morning, and then it's just too much, dude. And then it's like, oh, Nick, and then we get slighted for responding, and now it's just like a whole perpetual circle of nonsense. And that's what's annoying. Knicks for clicks, dude. That stuff's annoying. But other than that, I get it. Everyone loves the Knicks. Knicks they put at 11. We should be happy. What are your thoughts, man? I know you were just on Knicks fan TV. Yeah, what are your thoughts on the day?
Look, man, as long as we didn't drop, cool with it. And honestly, when I'm looking at this draft, because it's once again, this is like 2020 draft where it's like, oh, it's not that deep, or maybe you can find some gems, or it's stacked. Like there's so many mixed messages right now. Honestly, at 11, it's not a bad situation for the Knicks right now. Okay. I was just talking to Chip and CK, our guys. Chip, who's on Winning Picks Weekly, has been on this show. CK, who's been on this show. Friends of the pod, hosts of the pod. When it comes to Chip,
recurring guests,
whatever. All right, our boys. Like I was talking to them, they're talking about Jalen Duren. They're talking about Mark Williams. There's possibility Johnny Davis dropping, Benedict Mathurin. Like if you're telling me any of those guys are going to be around there, like what's to be angry about? Like honestly, what is there to be angry at?
How about AJ Griffin?
I wouldn't be happy with. I would love AJ Griffin. You kidding?
Dude, that's my bullseye right now. My bullseye
AJ Griffin.
Right
shout out to Jordan Griffith who was on here. All right.
Hell yeah.
All right. And he coached AJ Griffin. So like if AJ Griffin drops, like these are all possibilities at 11. I'm not upset. And the way that the lottery, like the way that our front office has drafted the last 2 years, how can you be upset? Like the fact that we didn't even drop and you could have, I just gave you some 4 guys who could be solid contributors in the NBA. Like personally, Johnny Davis is my dude. I think him just carrying a team by himself is just so impressive.
He's going to be there.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, or if you want to replace Mitchell Robinson and you want to talk about drafting centers that have a little bit more complete game, solid defensively, who could possibly start in a Tibbs rotation, Duran and Williams are like guys that you could potentially throw in there that could do that if you don't want to pay Mitch and if you want to sign and trade him.
Or if you want to sign DeAndre Ayton.
I mean, I don't think Phoenix is letting go. We could talk about that a little bit later.
Oh my God, 100%. He's going to be let go. But anyway,
okay.
I just don't think we're gonna ever pay him that much.
That's a lot to unload for a team that's not even ready to do that. Honestly, yeah. We can actually. I'll save that. I'll table that question for you in a second. But I just want to say, like, I'm fine with the 11th pick. Okay. And look, I have people in my mentions saying, I asked, is it going to be prosperity? Is it going to be pain today? Like, how is everyone feeling? Trying to gauge like the pulse of Knicks Nation. Okay. People have been saying pain, prosperity. They're looking for prosperity, but they were ready for pain. X, Y, Z. Dude, every answer possible.
Anyone who was predicting pain and there was a 12% chance of that, dude, just get out of my life. Like, I don't need to hear your nonsense, dude. There's a 12% chance.
Well, here, you're going to like this one then. Give me a second for this one. Because someone said pain. Come on. It's the Knicks. When was the last time there were good news? And I was like, I don't know. Obi Toppin, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, Mitchell Robinson, Miles McBride, Jericho Sims. They've all been good news to me. I don't know about you. Like, they've been good news to me. This dude responds saying, I'm trying not to laugh. You know what? At that point, you're just a certified hater. I don't even know why you watch the Knicks. Okay. Go back to being under a rock. Anyway, moving along. I'm fine with it, man. I think, like I said, there's some good options. You're like an AJ Griffin. I would be stoked for AJ Griffin. I'd be happy for Johnny Davis. I'd be stoked for one of the centers either. Like at this point, it doesn't really like I think we're fine. Like I legitimately think we're fine.
Shout out to the Jordan Griffith episode. You mentioned that we discussed both of those guys on the pod, and we didn't even mention NYCFC. They're doing fantastic. Toddy's getting goals. right? Just a quick, side bet there. And Liverpool won again today, and they're taking the Champions League down to Championship Sunday to almost catch Man City. We'll see what happens. So, dude, what's there not to be happy about? I agree, man. The Rangers win Game 7 at the Garden. The Knicks stay put at 11. There was a 77% chance of it. The draft, we have seen that our current coach and front office at least know how to draft. Maybe you don't 100% agree with what happens after the draft, but at least we know that they're good at drafting. And the 11th pick, we're still fine, man. I don't think there's anything to be upset about at all. But the question I have for you is, are we even going to use this pick?
And I was actually going to ask you this question. So I'm glad that you brought this up. I think we are going to use this pick. When I look at what Leon Rose sent to just the ticket holders, what the beat reporters got a hold of, he kept talking about the youth. I think we're still keep going through the youth. This team is not ready to move a draft pick to go get someone like Spida. Donovan Mitchell is not realistic for this team right now because
he was at Game 7 in the Garden, bro.
I hear you. I think if it was a top four, more realistic. I think you could sell someone on taking like a Jaden Ivey, or if you're Utah, taking one of the top, either taking Jabari Smith, Paolo Banchero, Chet Holmgren. I think you could sell Utah on one of those guys. But to give the 11th to go get Donovan, I think it's a little bit more. It's going to be a lot more than that. So I don't see that happening. I think if you just unload everybody, when I think quickly, Toppin, Grimes, all these guys can still develop and get better where you don't have to trade all those assets together right now. You could trade one or fewer of them to go get Spida. Also, he's in the 4th year of his extension. Utah is going to be looking for a haul, and I just don't trust Danny Ainge as the guy to be on the other side to negotiate with. I don't see Spida. I don't see really any other star out there. Maybe you make a minor trade, but that doesn't necessarily involve a draft pick of this year. I still think the Knicks take someone this season because we need to either replace Mitch or add some wing depth. Okay. But what are your thoughts, man? Because my thought is that I think we're going to take a wing, and we discussed this on the Cam Reddish episode because I think Cam's not going to really be here because they're going to look at a rookie scale contract. Do you think they use the pick, and do you think they take a wing, or do you think they're going to go for a big?
So if they stay, I do think that they're going to take a wing. And again, I do hope it's AJ Griffin. I think he'd be a perfect fit on the squad. As you always say, we need wings. And to be honest with you, the only point guard who's available there is Ty Ty. I don't know if I know you're upset with Ty Ty. I'm sure he's going to look different outside Kentucky regardless. So we'll see. We still have a long way to go with the combine and all this stuff. But if we do stay there, I most likely, I definitely see a wing type player, shooting a small forward, shooting guard hybrid, power forward hybrid. I mean, definitely not center. I don't see many like big centers there. Some sort of wing. But I really like what you said about Mitchell. Not only do I not want to negotiate with the Jazz, I don't want to trade for Mitchell. If you really want to come to the Knicks this bad, if you are, training in the offseason in Westchester, if you are going to Rangers games, if you're going to Mets games and you really love it, just, dude, when you're a free agent, come here. Otherwise, you're going to screw the whole franchise. You're going to screw the team. You're going to have a Melo trade, okay, for better or for worse. And you're going to be linked up with RJ. People are going to resent you because we got rid of our young guys, and it's going to be inefficient as hell. It's just not going to work out. So I agree with you. And speaking of Danny Ainge, Mr. Hypocrite himself, I'm all upset about the Knicks Bass coming to, a Utah Jazz Dallas Mavericks game. Meanwhile, he is in the Utah Jazz front office, and he's going to Celtics games, Game 7. You know what I'm saying? Nothing to do with him. Eastern Conference. It's the same exact thing that the Knicks did. The Knicks are in the Eastern Conference. They went to a Western Conference game. It wasn't a deciding factor. It was Game 1. And they were on the other sideline. Danny Ainge chopping it up with with the executives and everyone, and he's watching the game. I don't know. That's why I like, dude, just shut up. So I agree with you. I don't want to trade with Danny Ainge either. He's annoying. But coming to the original question here, do I think we're gonna draft this pick? I don't think that Leon Rose was referring when he was referring to the youth. I don't think he's referring to another draft pick. I agree with you. We are going to stay with the youth movement because we're going to stay with our guys. That's what that meant. And that means we're not going to trade IQ. That means we're not going to trade Obi. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, we're not going to get rid of RJ Barrett. Like, that's what my interpretation of we're going to stick with our guys, stick with our youth. Because like you said, like you just mentioned, how many youth that we drafted that we're still, kind of gathering intel on, whether we like it or not. And shout out to Frankie Smokes, still chilling in the Western Conference, getting real minutes. Man, like shout out to him. Like that's all our boys. Bullock too.
The Dallas Knicks.
Yeah, because KP's out there, I feel okay about the whole thing. I like them now.
Yes.
They're okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And Timmy Hardaway's out there too.
Isn't it interesting how he gets traded? Guys. How he gets traded. Luka could never make it out of the first round, but he gets traded. It's out of the first round.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Coincidence? So, I think not.
I love it. I really truly love it. But dude, I don't see the Knicks making this draft pick.
Really? So who do you think this draft pick is going? Where is this going then? Is this for Jalen Brunson? Is this for Malcolm Brogdon?
It's definitely not for Malcolm Brogdon. Is okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Is Jalen Brunson an unrestricted free agent?
He is an unrestricted free agent.
Okay, so he's not going for Jalen Brunson either. I believe that he's the first round pick is going to be packaged with Randle. Wherever Randle is going, I have a feeling that first round pick is going to go with him. So that's like really going to be a nice juicy deal wherever he goes. Like we're going to get something real back. And that's the only way that would happen without losing our players. You know what I mean? Without losing RJ, without losing IQ, without losing Obi. If you're going to get rid of Randle and maybe like a Fournier or Burks, plus a first round pick, that's a real trade. I don't know for who. I'm not going to, go crazy and speculate, oh, it's for this exact person or that exact person. I'm not sure who that's going to be. It's not going to be for Brunson. I'll tell you that much. That's not that whole thing's not. But I couldn't. I mean, it just depends, dude. Just like stepping back away from the trading of the draft pick, it's just been on my mind, I guess, and I guess I just have to let it out because it's the DeAndre Ayton thing. Talking about a sign and trade. If the Suns call us and want to sign and trade Ayton for Randle or Ayton for Mitchell Robinson, I'm not going to hate that.
So would you trade?
Because the Suns need Randle, that third guy, and Randle fits that mold, actually.
He actually does fit that mold.
Yeah.
So would you trade Mitchell Robinson? So you're saying you trade Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, this year's first rounder.
Well, you can't, right? You can't sign and trade and add anyone with him.
No. The trading team can't add anyone to the signer, but the other side can. Okay. So if the Knicks,
we have to sign trade Mitch.
Yeah, we would have to. Yeah,
so that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah. You're right on that.
So it's got to be Randle.
I was thinking Ayton. So yeah, you're going to do a Ayton for Randle then?
Would you do Randle in the first round pick for DeAndre Ayton?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I would.
And give him a contract. All right, yeah, and then you could sign and trade Mitch for Jalen Brunson.
Yes, you could. You could do that.
That for me is
that'd be a little bit more. That'd be
a fix. That's a quick fix.
That's actually closer because that would you probably have to give Mitch $15 million a year, if you're going to give Brunson $20 million a year. But if Brunson gets anything higher than that, you can't do that because there's no way Mitch is going to be making that much money.
Yeah, I could see. I don't know. I could see Mitch making in the 18 to 20 range, and then Jalen Brunson making in the 23 to 25 range because everybody knows that the cap is going up. You know what I mean? It's no longer a secret. It's coming out, and so agents know it, and it's only going to cripple you for 1 year. I don't know, dude. I know people are starting to get sour on Brunson. I don't understand it. They've been unbelievable.
Bro, the conversations on Brunson, I know this is a lottery pick, and we're going back to some of the lottery talk in a second. But the fact that the Brunson conversation has gone from, oh, he's not that good, to now he's why would he leave this team? Just say, if you don't want Brunson, this is the reason you don't want this is the reason you don't want Brunson. Let me help you all out right here. It's not that he sucks. It's not that you don't trust him. It's not that why would he leave the team, which is also a very good question. Why would he leave this team that's going to the Western Conference Finals? That's a legitimate question. But the reason you don't want him on the Knicks, and this is the reason why, it's because you want Emmanuel Quickley to start. And you want to see more of our young guys get playing time. But it's more so for Emmanuel Quickley to start. Just be honest with that thing. It's not that he sucks. It's not that he's bad. None of those things, because he's actually a very good player. His team is in the Western Conference Finals, and he's been a key factor to the Mavericks' success this season. So that cannot be true. Okay?
Can I be honest about something?
Sure.
I think it's total weirdo behavior how people care whether or not IQ starts over anything else. Like, who cares, bro? Like, if he's 27 minutes off the bench being Jamal Crawford, what the hell do you care? Like I don't understand the obsession. It's just it's at some point about being right and this and that. Like, if Jalen Brunson is starting and then you have IQ off the bench with D Rose next to him, it's going to be that's an unbelievable depth chart. Like, what's the issue? Like, we're just going to complain every night if that happens, that IQ's making less money than Brunson and he's on the bench. Who the hell cares? It's a sick position for him. You know what I mean?
I hear you. Like I said, I wrote an article for Knicks Fan TV about it, and I said, like, my whole logic for starting IQ is if you have to move assets in a sign and trade for Brunson, I would be a little bit more weary on how much assets you have to give up for Brunson, because once again, we're still not that team, and I'd rather go with IQ at that position. I would be happy to have Brunson on this team and to have him and Quickley on this team. But I think the obsession with Quickley is looking at the past 2 seasons and seeing who has started over him, not being a legitimate point guard. And maybe, like, if you're upset with Elfrid Payton, I get it. If you're upset with having Alec Burks and Kemba Walker, totally understandable. And I get why IQ to start over those guys.
I agree.
And I
but
think
Brunson
that's more.
Is not. He's not those guys, dude.
I agree.
Brunson. I mean, he's leading the Mavericks without Luka when he's out. When he's in, he's jumping into whatever they need him to do. If Luka has trouble, he comes in. If he doesn't, he plays with 3-point guards if he needs to. And he's getting 30 points. He's playing defense. He's doing everything.
No, it's a fact. And that's why it's so weird. This is why it's so weird with the Quickley and the Brunson conversation combined. Like, if you don't want Brunson, just say, I want Emmanuel Quickley as a point guard, and I just want to see him there. Just that's it. It's nothing about Brunson. Just say that. If you don't want and if that's really it, that's the entire conversation. There's nothing for either side. Like, it's just that plain and simple. You want to see IQ start, plain and simple. It's not that you think Brunson's bad. If you think Brunson's bad, I gotta ask you some questions. Legitimately gotta ask you some questions of what you're watching.
I'm gonna tell you, dude. We're scared. We're scared. We're scared to make a bad move. And I've said it multiple times on this podcast. I'll be the first to admit I was wrong about Fred VanVleet because I was scared.
What I'm saying? Knicks fans were wrong about Kyle Lowry too.
Scared money don't make no money, man. It's just a fact. Like, you have to start paying these players, and it's a discount. Every single thing you do now is a discount. That's why I was kind of annoyed that we didn't sign Mitch.
You know what I think? You know what I think the thing is too? I think everyone sees these contracts, and we're still living like it's the Allen Houston contract era. And it's like, we are so far past that. Like, someone making 20 million, like 20 million now is nothing.
No, Alex, here, let me give you the other side of that. The Knicks haven't made a great acquisition.
That's a good long-term signing. I get that. Yeah, I get that.
Ever.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
No, so that's the whole thing. Like, Allen Houston, like Julius Randle, anyone who we signed,
Stephon
Marbury, anyone who we signed that, like, because that was a trade, right? But like anyone,
it was a trade.
Amari Stoudemire, right? Like, anyone who we sign just never works out. So we're scared. You know what I mean? That's what it is at the end of the day. And so
that's why either a trade or a sign, it has never worked out.
That's why trade, you could kind of argue, but like signing for sure not. And so that's why I could see the argument as to why you would take the draft pick. Just you have the 11th pick. You've seen that our team drafts well, right?
That's why I
Luckily
think
for
you
us,
stick with it.
yeah, we're the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast.
Force
And somehow the Jets have a front office that drafts, and somehow the Knicks have a front office that drafts. So we've never seen this happen. Yeah,
That's why, like, and as you're right, we won the Derrick Rose trade. I'll say that, like, we won it for that season. So, like, we in this new regime, we've done well when it comes to trades. We even won the Porzingis trade.
that's what I'm saying. We win trades, man.
It's like it's a different
definitely
day.
Not signings. Definitely not signings.
Signings, I agree with you. But getting back to the lottery and getting back on track, this is why I think you draft. You have to force Tibbs to play the youth at this point. We tried it. We brought all these guys back that helped us be that successful team 2019, 2020, 2020, 21 season, and didn't work. 2021, 2022, it wasn't catastrophic, but we didn't really go anywhere. We keep going up and down, things that we didn't see coming, injuries, regression, all that. We can keep going down that same path. We don't have to do that. We've now seen this is not that team. Move some of these guys and give the youth some playing time. Let's figure it out. Let's figure out what we have on this roster for once, and let's move forward. That's why I think they should draft this player. We're not ready to start moving off. We don't even have, yes, we have a lot of players, but they're role players, man. Like, I look at Jericho Sims as a role player. I look at Quentin Grimes as of right now as a role player. Like, the highest guy is probably that we have is RJ Barrett. And if he's a solid, the max I see him is a good 2 option on this team, not the 1, but a 2 option. You're like a guy who can, once we find that guy who could be a Luka, a Giannis, somebody like that, he can go help and be that running mate. We haven't found that guy yet. So we got to keep drafting. We have to keep drafting and keep building. So when it comes to, whether it's AJ Griffin, whether it's Johnny Davis, whether it's one of the bigs, whoever, you got to do it. But I got this question for you. Do you see the Knicks trading up, trading back in this draft? What do you think's happening?
I definitely don't see them trading back, because that means we're just planning for more future, more, later down the road. I just don't think that that's the direction of the Knicks. Like, we've been building for, like, this is year 2/3. Yeah. We've been building. I don't think that we're trying to keep moving. If someone impresses us in the draft, I could see us moving up, like the Joe Douglas type of mentality. Like, yo, I like you. I want you. I'm going to jump up and get it. Is that Ivy? I don't see a scenario.
Unless Ivy drops, like, he has to drop. Like, he has to come down to like 7.
9. Yeah.
7. He has to be in the Portland range, where I think you can sell Portland. Shout out to our guy Blood of Ponta. You want to talk about moving Randle and moving some guys over to Portland?
Simons.
Yeah, Anthony Simons. That's the type of scenario I'm like, I can kind of get on board with that.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a great idea.
I don't think it's for Simons. I just think it's for the pick. Like,
I don't see
because if you have, I don't see it either. I don't see Ivy dropping that far, but that's where I could see maybe doing that trade, because as of right now, they still have Dame.
Dude, I really thought with the whole Dame thing, I really thought they were about to get that the first pick, and get Chet and leave Chet in the Pacific Northwest, give him to Dame and Portland, and oh my god!
Honestly, that's the guy. That's the guy that they needed. Chet is the guy that they need.
If David Stern was still alive,
Paolo, Jabari, Chet, those are the guys. Those are the guys that scream Portland. So
I know,
but it's not. So do you see any potential trade up options at all, or do you think the Knicks just stay put at 11 if they do keep the pick?
If we keep the pick, I think we're going to stay at 11 and see how it goes, but maybe like jumping up 1 or 2 spots,
okay.
And like, maybe adding a second rounder, or like jumping off salary, or with a team who has an exception on their team, a trade exception that they need to get rid of. Because as we know, teams never actually use their trade exceptions and they expire. Mm-hmm. So maybe someone could find, a player on their board that might drop 1 or 2 spots. If we say AJ Griffin is there, you know what I mean? If we really want him, I could see something small like that. But jumping back a little bit to your last conversation with, what this team really got. If we were to trade Randle and the first in my scenario for Ayton and then sign and trade Mitch for Brunson, just humor me. Right now, you got the role players in Grimes and Obi, and Sims, in the second, but surround that with Brunson, RJ, and Ayton. That's a squad, man. That's a starting five, and then you have IQ, D Rose off the bench. You have Sims. Like, you have a real team. Don't forget Alec Burks and Fournier are somewhere. Whether we have
Burks
access
is
to
gone.
them or not.
I'm already convinced Burks is. I think you can move Burks for something.
That's
good.
That's a bold statement because that's Tibbs' guy. So if anything, I think Fournier is gone, and I could see Burks just hanging out because he could be our starting, our backup small forward, and obviously start at the 1 through 5 if we ever need.
Burks is somehow here. If Burks is somehow here for next,
he will be. He will be.
Burks is somehow that man.
Trust me, he will be.
He's
a great contract.
Love Burks. I love Burks for his value for what he actually can do off the bench. Hell yeah. Absolutely.
Right. I'm gonna take this podcast off the rails for the last question because the rumor came up today.
Oh boy.
So I have to ask.
Yeah.
If Phil Jackson, who is now
helping the Lakers,
who is now rumored that he wants to trade Mr. LeBron James. If LeBron James is being rumored to the Knicks,
no.
Would you do it?
No.
What'd you think about it?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm done with this. I'm done with this. No, because here's my thing with LeBron James. I'm not doing the same old Knicks. We're getting the star way late in his career, and now you're going to have LeBron on this team, which then means LeBron has to have this team constructed the way LeBron wants it. And I've seen what happens to every single damn team after LeBron leaves. And once he gets there, all the youth is traded. All these old ass dudes come in here. And it's like, wow, didn't we have something good around here?
What if he learned? What if he learned after what just happened with the Lakers?
I don't believe it.
Okay.
Stop.
Okay.
This man could go to New Orleans and somehow get everyone to sign in New Orleans and be like, what just happened? Chris Paul re-signed with New Orleans. How did that happen? Get a trade from Phoenix. That's like the type of nonsense that I could see happening. So no, I don't want LeBron on this team. Obviously 10 years ago, hell yeah. But at this stage of his career, but
I agree with you. I definitely agree with your points. However, if the Lakers say, give me IQ, Burks, Randle, and like 2 first-round picks for LeBron, I'll be like, yo, let's go. So that's the whole thing. That's my only issue. So as much as I agree with you and all your points, I also know I have a weakness. I have a price.
The man wants to win a chip. Like, I'm thinking about like his mental. Like, he wants to win a chip, bro.
That's what I'm saying. If he wants to come to the Knicks, like, first of all, our season tickets is gonna be. I'm gonna be a millionaire because of the season tickets. It becomes the Garden will be a spectacle. I'm just saying playoffs.
You know how this all plays out, right? If LeBron came to the Knicks at his age,
we'd lose in the first round and he'd get hurt.
Yes, he'd get hurt before the playoffs.
I'm aware. I'm 100% aware.
He already got hurt this past season. He didn't even play the first time he played the Knicks.
I'm 100% aware. It was just a scenario that came up. I thought the Phil Jackson piece was pretty interesting. I know he's going to want to get rid of Westbrook, but it's not going to work.
Good Lord. The most untradeable contract gets traded. Can you imagine?
I don't know. I feel like Westbrook for John Wall might happen.
Again?
Yeah. I think they're just going to keep getting traded for each other.
Again?
Imagine. They just keep getting traded for each other back and forth no matter what team.
Oh, my God. That's insanity. Comical, but insanity. But this pod has gone pretty off the rail as true KJE fashion. Love it. Love it. But John,
dude, can I say one last thing about the Knicks?
Okay.
I need to experience a Game 7 in the Garden.
Like you witnessed the Rangers?
Knicks. Dude, that was unbelievable. Because like I know I was saying I want to pick Weekly. I've heard of the allure of the Garden, Game 7 at the Garden, we've watched
intense. Yeah, it's intense.
But I never personally experienced it.
Yeah, same here.
Dude. Listen, I literally was in St. Petersburg, Russia in the World Cup in a round of 16 game elimination, and they beat Spain in penalty kicks. And, beat Iniesta, one of the best players to ever play the game, and they went nuts. I think it's like 69,000 people in that stadium. Garden has 18,000. I promise you, I've never experienced anything like the Garden. So like when it comes to the Knicks, dude, I'm yearning for that day, man. I am actually yearning for that day.
Me too. But
that's why when things like LeBron come up, and I'm like, oh, it's so stupid, blah blah blah. I think I would sell my soul for at one point it sounds
man, I'm trying to win
a lot. It sounds a lot like the Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce Nets team,
which it would be.
That's what it sounds like a little bit on one hand, but on the other hand, it also sounds like that Lakers team with like Shaq, Kobe, Karl Malone, and Gary Payton, who would have won if they didn't get injured in the finals.
And you asked me if you learned from it. No, you just do the same thing, bro. Like you would legitimately construct the same team again. He'd figure out who's the guy to be his running mate, like an Anthony Davis.
RJ Barrett.
He would not shoot. He would keep RJ Barrett on the team and treat him like THT.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying, bro. Like
that's fair. No, it's fair. It's fair.
This is what I think about when I think of like LeBron on a team.
It's probably nonsense. It's probably nonsense. I was just curious about it.
Yeah, but let's before
I like my scenario. I like my scenario with the DeAndre Ayton and Jalen Brunson.
Yes, please. That'd be cool.
And all we lose is Randle, Mitch, and a pick or two, whatever. I'm down with that.
Yeah, I like Ayton. I like Ayton a lot. But since we're talking about Suns, and we're pretty much done with this lottery conversation, let's talk about these playoffs, man. Before we get out of here, we just saw Phoenix
game 7 in history of basketball.
Yeah, we had some really good game 7s. Shout out to my guy. Giannis Antetokounmpo put up 200 points, 100 rebounds, 50 assists throughout a 7-game series. All right. And I see people on the timeline slandering this dude. I'm like, really? Like, he just won the chip last season. Injuries are a part of the game. And we're questioning if he's that guy. Yes, he is that guy. All right. Mm-hmm. He is him. There's no conversation. Leave it alone. This is not, he won his chip. He did his thing. You want to know who didn't do this thing for the Bucks? All the role players. You have Grayson Allen out there like a traffic cone. That guy was like a traffic cone. You had Pat Connaughton didn't show up.
It really felt the Chris Middleton thing, huh?
Yo, Chris Middleton, and people downplay how good Chris Middleton is, and Chris Middleton's good. So didn't have Chris Middleton. Drew Holiday did the best he could. Everybody else didn't show up. Where was Brook Lopez? Where was everybody else? Questionable thing. Javon Carter.
Brook Lopez, he was trying. I thought it was about to be the Brook Lopez game, bro. I was tweeting out. He had 3 blocks. He's hitting threes. He was getting those putbacks.
The thing is, my question is, why are you bringing back in George Hill when Javion Carter was doing a fine job and George Hill was in street clothes like a couple games ago? You're really throwing him back in there?
Was it on the Knicks podcast or the Winning Picks Weekly podcast? I was like, I can't stand the George Hill factor. It was making fun of me. It might have been Winning Picks Weekly.
I think it was Winning Picks Weekly. We didn't have that conversation.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so I think the Pacers thing really just pisses me off. I can't look at George Hill in the face because of the Pacers series.
Exactly that reason. But hey, Bucks try their thing. Celtics got a really good defense, really deep squad. I think they're going to beat Miami. It's not looking like that game 1, but this is going to be a 7-game series. I think the Celtics are going to do it, man. I think the Celtics are going to do this in 7. They got the depth. They play like a team. They got the defense. Ime Udoka, the Celtics were projected to be a top 3 team coming into this season. Ime Udoka has just taken them to a whole other level with his schemes. Like, yes, Tatum's taking another jump. You got to give it to the players first because they're out there doing it. Tatum, Brown, Marcus Smart. You have Robert Williams. Grant Williams just was on fire last game. These guys are doing their thing. Peyton Pritchard, he's coming out here doing his thing. The Derek White trade was solid. You got to give credit to Boston, even though it sucks to say it. But This team is really coming together. All these guys are taking another level up. And Udoka has been adjusting. Defensive guy really showing his thing on the court and figuring out how to stop guys. He was like, yo, we're going to worry about Giannis. Let the other guys see if they can do it. And that was the right plan. Bucks tried to do it. They're like, yeah, let Grant Williams score. And they never adjusted. And Grant Williams was like, yo, let me just go put up some shots today. So shout out to the Celtics, I guess, for what they've been doing. I hate saying that, but I think they're going to do it. What do you got for Celtics Heat? If you got anything else before that from the previous series, before we touch on Warriors Suns.
I mean, I think you're on point, especially with this series. I got Celtics in 7. I think Celtics are going to win game 2, and then the Heat will steal one, I believe, in the Garden, which will be tough, but probably like game 4. And they'll just go back and forth until the game 7, home. Then they'll hit game 7, and I think Boston will win on the road again, man. I think they showed it in the first half. They can do it. They'll be fully healthy by game 7. Hopefully, Tice is limping right now. If Williams, the center, could, Robert, if he could stay upright, Marcus Smart gets okay. If Horford stops having COVID. They've been the best team since January, man. No matter how you slice it. So we'll see, man.
After RJ hit that game winner,
literally since that day. So we'll see. Jimmy Butler's on a mission. Again, I think it's going to be Heat Mavs. Shout out to my boy Mikey. He's been yelling at me, telling me that. I agree. It's just the rivalry that we didn't see coming.
Wow. So you got the Mavs beating the Warriors. I want to hear that, man.
Capital F frauds, bro. Listen, dude, there was no bigger fan of the Warriors than me. Even when everyone started hating on them, like they started getting annoyed and they're becoming complacent with the Warriors, I was still on board. I promise you. I was like, I still love them.
I'm right there with you.
They are not the same team. They're just not the same team. Who on earth is going to guard Luka? They don't have Iggy. Wiggins is not going to do it. Steph Curry is not the same Steph Curry. He has injuries. Klay Thompson, same. I know he had the crazy game 6, but he did not look good in the series. Jordan Poole looks okay in spurts at home, but he's not this amazing defender. And Draymond Green hasn't scored a bucket in 7.5 weeks. So I just don't see how this team is going to beat the Mavs, who are unintentionally, in my opinion, built to beat the Warriors. They have the small lineup with Powell and Kleber, and they can hit the threes everywhere. Everyone on the team can hit threes. They have a bunch of ball handlers, 1 through 4. Honestly, they're built to beat them. They could win a 1-on-1. They have tall defenders. Like, Bullock is gonna be a big part of this series. Sucks to say, but dude, I think it's gonna be Mavs in 6. So
you mean lengthy defenders, not tall defenders, because they only got Dwight Powell. But
yeah, that's what I mean. Just like wings that are gonna be annoying.
Yeah, on point, John.
It's crazy. It's crazy that Luka is gonna be in the chip.
Yo, after trading Mr. KP himself. So who would have thought? I still think the Warriors. I'm going to differ with you. I still think the Warriors are going to pull this out. I think it's going to go 7. I think this is going to go 7. The Warriors are they just been there. They've done it. They're experienced. These are the high pressured games that even when they're hurt, they just figure out ways to win. Even against Memphis, right? Like we saw that they figured out ways to win even when they're not shooting well. And I'm going to put that more on the veteran presence that they have on that team, especially with the key guys in Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green. They just know what to do and they know how to communicate and they know what to tell all the young guys. I think they're going to be ready for this. I think it's going to go 7. Wouldn't be surprised if the Mavs win, but I'm going to go with the Warriors on this one. I do agree with you on the Celtics, though. But this series is going to be good. But I want to talk about it before we get out of here. Phoenix, man.
Wild.
What do you think?
My team all year. It's my team all year.
Yeah, man. You were thinking it was going to be Bucks Phoenix rematch.
All year.
And I agreed with you. But we have to. I want to have this conversation right now. I want to have this conversation right now about one CP3. Actually, no. Let's
Talk of the town.
Yeah, talk of the town. Actually, let's make the. I don't want to just unload on him because he's got enough and he's still a really good player. Phoenix as a whole. Let's do that conversation. Is this team done? Was this the last chance they had to make it to the finals?
That's an interesting question. Could I answer it with another question? How do you feel about Monty Williams? Is he legit? Because he was the coach of the year this year, and he was supposed to be, according to everyone, the coach of the year last year too.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So
I think he's a good coach.
So if he's legit, and then the DeAndre Ayton thing was like a personal thing or whatever happened, they got into a riff, then yeah, I think that they can continue to do this. The door's not closed, especially because Devin Booker's a beast. He's going to get better.
Okay, that's the question I was going to ask you. Do you think Devin Booker is going to take it to that next level? Because he didn't take it to that next level this series, man.
Well,
That's in game 7. I know he's battling an injury.
No, he wasn't battling an injury, is he?
Yeah, he was.
Groin? Oh, the hamstring.
Yeah, the hammy.
Yeah. I mean, Chris Paul, I know he had like real injuries, like the wrist and stuff. Devin Booker was just, at the end of the day, I don't think he had help. I know it's crazy to say, but with Ayton was out for whatever reason, Paul was a shell of himself, which happens every single end of the playoff series. And I think you kind of have to, at this point, plan for that. Like, know that towards the end of the playoffs, he's going to fall apart physically and kind of mentally, but physically. Okay. And you have to have a plan B and C for it. Devin Booker's going to be double and triple teams. Nobody helped him out. Like, I'm sorry, Cameron Payne just not that guy. I know that Knicks fans during the year start telling me, oh, we need Cameron Payne. No, we don't. Okay. He's not that guy. I know Monk had a really good year, and it's now okay. We need him. You know who needs a draft pick, bro? Phoenix. Phoenix needs a draft pick, bro. They need those kinds of players. Like, they need an AJ Griffin and Julius Randle. That would be sick for them. Like, that would be if they had Randle on Phoenix, man. If they had a scoring power forward, they would be a really, 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 really good team. They need that third guy.
I'm looking at it right now. They do not have a draft pick at all this year. None.
Dude, I come to the table. I bring you Fournier. He shoots threes. I give you Randall. He could score by himself, create his own bucket. I give you a first-round pick.
Is this your Tony Soprano impression?
You give me DeAndre Ayton. I sign him. I trade Mitch Robinson. I get myself a point guard, and we call it a day. IQ, he's chilling. We keep our guys. OB, he gets a spot. He stops crying. Grimes sticks in his role. D Rose could chill off the bench. Burks could play every single position off the in the depth chart. Sims gets to play free safety. We have a nice time.
All right. And that was John's deal to the Phoenix Suns. So anyone in the front office, Sarver, Monty,
hit me up.
You guys are listening. If you guys are listening, you know what to do. But I think this is a good place to end it, John. Good place to end another Knicks episode. Got you some lottery takes, some Brunson IQ takes.
LeBron takes. First time
LeBron
ever
takes.
on the Knicks.
This is the first one. My God. Thought you would think that we started this podcast back like 2009.
Shout out to the only idiot that went to Times Square to watch the decision. Dummy.
Hey, you live and you learn, right? But
That was featured in ESPN by Jane McManus. That was fun.
That's cool.
She's like, "Oh, you're an idiot. Come talk to me." I was like, "All right."
Why not? Let me give you my takes. But on that note, thank you everyone for tuning for another Knicks episode of the Knicks Jets Etc. podcast. You know what to do. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to subscribe to this podcast. We're on all audio listening platforms. We're on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, Alexa, Stitcher, you name it. We are there. If you listen to us on Apple or Spotify, please make sure to give us that 5-star rating. If you listen to us on Apple, please make sure to leave a comment. We will read it and we'll greatly appreciate it. We're also on YouTube. Type in Knicks, Jets, etc. Period. Find the page, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you know when a new episode drops. And when you watch a video, hit the like button, leave a comment, add to the conversation. Let us know in the comments what you think about the Knicks staying at the 11th. Did you really believe they're going to jump up? Who do you want to see in the draft at 11? Let us know. Leave a comment down below. And while you're over here, check out our other podcast, Winning Picks Weekly. John, video producer Greg, co-host, and our guy, Chip Murphy. These guys go through everything. Everything. MLB, NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs.
Dude,
PGA.
I've been so hot on the NHL playoffs. Hot. I'm hot with the NHL playoffs right now.
This is interesting.
Totally wrong on the NBA. Had Milwaukee and the Suns. They both let me down.
You know what it is? Yeah, I feel like sometimes when you watch a sport too closely, you overanalyze it. You know what I mean? But when you don't follow that
all year, bro, they're so good all year, man.
But when you don't watch a sport that intensely, you just go for the ride, you can see the board clearly. And that's you right now. That's you for the NHL right now. So you know what that means, everyone? You know what that means? Make sure to go over to check WPW, Winning Picks Weekly, and go get John's takes on hockey. All right, this hockey playoffs. Because
I never thought I'd hear those words, bro.
Who would have thought? Here we are. And then last and certainly not least, please make sure to follow us on all social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. We are there. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in for another Knicks episode of the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast. We out.
Let's go Knicks and let's go Rangers, son.